Nirvana was astonished by his mental attack bouncing off the fourth wall, and then he was hit by the white pure star energy. What the hell is this? I didn't do anything. It is the power of the story. What? I didn't believe in the doctrines of the Salvation Church, but there was one thing I agreed with. You said that strength and weakness is determined by the story. A high-health warrior would just be food to a magician if they didn't have any magic defense skills. Strength and weaknesses were determined by the history of the characters. It's your fault that you didn't get any close combat skills in this life, all because you wanted to aim at Yu Jung-hyuk's weakness. I never thought things would be resolved this way. Something influenced Nirvana's growth path, and he became the counter for Yu Jung-hyuk. However, since Nirvana became Yu Jung-hyuk's counter, he could never win against me. Nirvana's eyes shook as he read something in my tone. He stared at me quietly and said, I know your name, Kim Dokja. We're talking about names? Okay, Nirvana Mobius. Do you want to have a heart-to-heart talk? The light of the mandala turned off. A reincarnator wasn't a reincarnator for nothing. As if a switch was turned on, the agitated Nirvana disappeared, and the Nirvana who regained his composure was in front of me. Some nebula warned me to be careful of you. Of course, I didn't know what to expect. Some nebula. I was certainly drawing attention. Nirvana asked me, how did you get such a strong mental barrier? The only person who hasn't been infected with my thoughts until now was Anna Croft. I smiled bitterly at the familiar name. That woman had already touched the reincarnator. It wasn't strange. Anna Croft would have already started contacting the strongest players in the world. In order to save the world, that woman would even sell souls to the devil. Nirvana read something in my face and said, You know the prophet. What the hell are you? Are you a aggressor or... The constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire is interested in the story. The constellation's secretive plotter is quietly contemplating the situation. The information filtering should have gradually started being removed. Information about regressors and reincarnators would start to enter the ears of the constellations. I'm sure those of the Great Nebula should already know about it. Nirvana looked at me and kept talking. This is an interesting rebirth. I have lived for over 100 years, yet I am curious about you. You talk too much. It will be hard for you to get Yu Jung-hyuk in the future. I will accept you as a follower. A constellation who recites the Buddhist scriptures is wondering about you. It was a proposal that I would have readily accepted earlier. However, I respectfully decline. Among those supporting me, there is one who hates your sponsor. The constellation, Prisoner of the Golden Headband, reveals hostility towards Nirvana Mobius' sponsor. Nirvana's mouth opens slightly. The Monkey King? Why is he chasing you? I don't know. I have become even more curious. Come under me along with Yu Jung-hyuk. I don't want to. Aren't you curious about the secrets of this world? I can help you survive even after the end of this world. It has nothing to do with the failure of the scenarios. The words were persuasive. If I wasn't a reader, then I might have accepted it. I'll allow you to become one with me. Behind Nirvana's back, the mandala started to shine again. Hundreds of faces appeared on the slowly rotating mandala. The pained faces screamed. All of them were one with Nirvana. I exclaimed, Shut up, you pervert! If you don't agree, then I'll have to force you. Nirvana's face was still relaxed despite the unfavorable situation. In any case, the opponent was a reincarnator. He had lived countless lives and had a much better combat sense than me. As time passed, my movement would start to be read by him and I would fall into a disadvantage. So, if the answer was to win the fight before that happened... A white energy swirled around the mandala. I didn't hesitate and rush towards the mandala. The exclusive skill, Miniaturization Level 1, is activated. The effective miniaturization will decrease the size of your body. The body became very small, and the blow from the mandala missed. Nirvana laughed. What is this petty trick? Was it really a petty trick? Due to the effects of miniaturization, all your equipment will be transformed to fit your size. The skill level is low, and the duration is shortened. The duration of miniaturization is 2 minutes. This was why I chose miniaturization over all other good skills. It was because only miniaturization could make me the most powerful person I knew. I will choose the 5th bookmark, Kyrgios Rodgame. Your current body configuration is similar to the physical makeup of the character. The level of the character is too high to fully reproduce the skill level. The level of the skills being activated is forcibly adjusted. The white lightning energy swirled and nestled in my heart. It was the power to break the sky and cause thunder. Beyond the mighty lightning, I could see Nirvana's pale face. I wondered, do you still see this as a petty trick? No matter how strong Nirvana was, he couldn't surpass Kyrgios' power at this moment. The exclusive skill, Electrification Level 10, is activated. Intense lightning appeared all over my body, and clouds of lightning started to gather at my fists. If I couldn't take advantage of the reincarnator, then it was better to get rid of him here. I stretched out my fist towards Nirvana. Pray to be born human again. The lightning storm exploded towards Nirvana's side. Nirvana screamed terribly, and I heard the incarnation shouting. The level of miniaturization was low, so there wasn't as much power compared to when I dealt with Orochi, but it was still tremendous damage. A cloud of dust appeared, and Nirvana was blown away with a large hole in his side. He was alive? How could that be? Blood poured from his mouth. It seemed to be a serious blow, but I wasn't satisfied. It was strange. He couldn't survive this attack even if he was a reincarnator. Then I could see locust petals growing on his body. I thought I knew what was going on. I thought this stigma wasn't possible because of the probability. This bastard, don't tell me? Using my memories in a mere place like this. A grim voice was heard. I looked at the sparks around the petals and knew how he had survived. Story payment. He borrowed the power of his sponsor in exchange for his story. I will see you again. His body was covered in a large lotus leaf. I rushed towards him. My fist hit his chest, but Nirvana was laughing with a distorted face. You will pay for going against the present. It will be in the most terrible manner. Starting from the center of the chest that I hit, his body started turning into lotus leaves. I stretched out my hand and tried to grab onto the left arm of the disappearing person. Just wait! The next moment, Nirvana disappeared, leaving only his torn-off left arm and flying lotus leaves. The character, Nirvana Mobius, has used the stigma, No Ownership Level 7. No ownership. It was the stigma where he abandoned some of his memories in exchange for escaping from danger. He paid using the memories from his reincarnations and escaped me. Leader, Nam, where did you go? The Salvation members were collapsing. Some were already running away. Others saw their leader being defeated by me, and the mental shock was huge. I watched as the Salvation members retreated. Smoke emerged from my body, and miniaturization and bookmark were released at the same time. My overworked muscles were crying out in pain. I didn't manage to kill Nirvana, but there was some harvests. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband can't hide his joy at your victory. 10,000 coins have been sponsored. The incarnations who saw my victory looked at each other incredulously. The Salvation leader lost. Who is that incarnation? Wait a minute, that face, that... Someone pointing at me and shouted, The ugliest king! I ignored them and found Yu Jing-hyuk. Yu Jing-hyuk was released from his paralysis and could be seen stumbling in the distance. This sunfish bastard, he didn't help when it was important. Hey, are you okay? Yu Jing-hyuk held his head like he had a headache and asked, The reincarnator? He fled. Pathetic. Did you miss him? Do you have the right to say something like that? Yu Jing-hyuk's expression was serious. We have to quickly chase him. His purpose isn't to clear the scenario. I know that. If you know, then how could you let him leave? If you don't catch the reincarnator before the 10th scenario ends, Soul will... The constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire belatedly regained her spirit. The constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire wants to explain why she came here. At Uriel's words, Yu Jing-hyuk and I looked up at the air simultaneously. The constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire needs your help. It was difficult to grasp the exact context due to the limitations of the indirect messages, but it wasn't difficult to guess what had happened. Uriel was Jung Hee-won's sponsor. Uriel, who was supposed to be with Jung Hee-won, came all the way here, and contact with Jung Hee-won was broken. This meant Min Ji-won-shi. Do you know where Jung Hee-won-shi is? However, Min Ji-won was still unconscious. This wouldn't work. Yu Jing-hyuk, defend me. What? I immediately closed my eyes and focused. I had become quite familiar with it after all the practice while sleeping. There was the feeling of my body sinking to the ground and darkness was everywhere. I felt a shallow sleep and immediately used Omniscient Reader's viewpoint. I needed to find a voice. I was looking for a voice. However, the voice was missing. I became increasingly uneasy. I told them to think about me when something happened. Was there a problem? Dokja. For the first time, someone called me. My vision distorted and third person's viewpoint was triggered. I groaned at what I saw in the scene. Hrack! The entire screen filled with white flames. It was the stigma of judgment that burned everything in the world. I didn't have to ask. This was definitely Jung Hee-won's Hell Flames ignition. It was fortunate Jung Hee-won was still alive. By the way, it was strange. This wasn't Jung Hee-won's viewpoint? After a while, I saw the lotus pattern on Jung Hee-won's forehead within the flames. Damn, Nirvana already got to her. Well, Yoo Jung-hyuk was hit by it. It would be weird if Jung Hee-won wasn't affected. However, a question still remained. Who called me? Jung Hee-won-shi? It was an unsophisticated soldier's voice. It was Lee Hyun-sun. There was a loud sound and the screen vibrated. The surrounding incarnations were blown away. Everywhere touched by the flames started burning. It was a location where I couldn't go immediately. In any case, there would definitely be consequences. Jung Hee-won was affected by thought infection and wouldn't hesitate. The innocent Lee Hyun-sung was helplessly exposed in front of her bride. Damn, what should I do? Suddenly, the darkness burst and the screen was broken open. I opened my eyes with a strong sense of nausea and saw Yoo Jung-hyuk's angry expression. Why are you going to sleep now? Saliva ran down my mouth and I felt incredibly sick. That jerk, did he hit me to wake me up? Wait a minute. Hit? I gained sudden enlightenment. Yes, this was it. I hated it, but it couldn't be helped. I spoke to Yoo Jung-hyuk. Hey, hit me one more time. A really strong one. What? They were misleading words. Then I had to say it again. No, kill me now.